If you've ever stood on a dock, stared at a sleek kayak gliding past, and thought, maybe I should try something that lets me sit back and still cover miles without sweating through a paddle, you're not alone. The hesitation is real. Spending a few $100s on a watercraft that feels like a gimmick rather than a tool can feel like a gamble, especially when you're looking at a two-person, pedal-driven model that promises distance, stability, and a bit of fishing swagger. I get that you want proof that the Brooklyn 13.5 Tandem pedal kayak isn't just another vanity purchase, but something that actually works for a weekend outing, a fishing trip with the kids, or an extended river adventure. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the core idea behind a pedal kayak. Unlike a traditional paddle, the foot-driven system lets both occupants keep their hands free, which is a huge plus for anglers who need to cast, reel, and manage gear without constantly stopping to reorient the boat. The Brooklyn 13.5 is built around that premise. A dual pedal drive that powers the hull while you sit in a stable, sight-and-top cockpit. This sight-and-top design is not just a marketing buzzword. It actually raises the center of gravity enough to give you a feeling of security when you're moving through chop, yet low enough that you still feel planted when you're waiting for a bite. Who should consider this kayak? If you're a serious recreational fisherman who likes to bring a partner along, maybe a spouse, a friend, or a teenage child, this model checks several boxes. The 680-pound capacity means you can load up 2 medium-sized adults, a couple of rod holders, a small cooler, and still have room for extra tackle boxes or a portable GPS. Families that enjoy day trip excursions on calm lakes will appreciate the extra space. You can set up a picnic on the bow while the other person pedals and steers. The built-in rudder steering is also a real convenience. You get precise directional control without having to twist the entire foot pedal assembly, which is a common complaint on cheaper pedal kayaks where the whole hull can yaw unintentionally. On the flip side, if you're a solo paddler who values ultra-lightweight transport, the Brooklyn 13.5 may feel a bit cumbersome. At just over 130 pounds, it's far heavier than a solo sit-in kayak you could lift onto a roof rack by yourself. The super easy to handle and carry claim holds up when you have a vehicle with a proper roof rack or a small crew to help, but solo owners should be ready for a little extra planning. Also, if you primarily paddle on narrow, winding rivers where tight turns are essential, the pedal-driven system, while efficient on straight stretches, doesn't offer the same instant maneuverability as a hand paddle with a skeg. The rudder helps, but you'll still notice a wider turning radius compared to a narrow fishing kayak. Now, let's walk through a typical day using this boat, so you can see where the value really surfaces. Imagine a Saturday morning on a medium-sized reservoir. You and your partner load the kayak onto the roof of your SUV, unload it onto the launch ramp, and slide it into the water. Because the hull is a sight-and-top style, you can hop in quickly, shoes and all, without worrying about a cramped cockpit. The foot pedal assembly is positioned in the center, so both riders can place their feet comfortably. You start pedaling at a leisurely pace, and the kayak glides forward without the arm fatigue that a traditional paddle would cause after an hour or two. Because the pedals drive a propeller beneath the hull, you maintain a steady speed of about 3 to 4 miles per hour with minimal effort. This is perfect for drifting over a school of fish, letting the current carry you while you keep your rods ready. The built-in gear storage compartments, located just behind each seat, are handy for stashing a small tackle box, a handheld GPS, and a waterproof phone case. When a bite comes in, you can quickly slide the rod holder out of the side mount, cast, and reel all while your partner keeps the kayak moving. The fact that you never have to stop pedaling to reorient the kayak means you stay on the same spot longer, which is a subtle but tangible advantage for anglers. One of the practical strengths that shows up in real-world use is the stability claim. The 13.5-foot length combined with a fairly wide beam gives a level of steadiness that makes standing up to cast or retrieve a net feel safe, even when the water gets a little choppy. In my testing on a lake that had a light breeze, the kayak rocked less than a traditional sit-in model, and the weight distribution kept it from listing when I leaned over to reach a lure in the cooler. The 680-pound capacity isn't just a number on a spec sheet. It translates to actual room for 2 adults plus gear without the hull sagging or the foot pedals losing traction. A hidden trade-off emerges when you consider the maintenance side.